Morning guys, welcome back to Origin Performance. So today we've got what's hopefully a different video for you guys. We're going to be installing a catch can in my 2014 Hyundai Genesis Coupe. So there's a few videos online, a couple resources showing how to roughly install it, where it goes, but I don't think any of them go into the detail they need to. So we're going to make the definitive guide today. So by the end of this, you'll know exactly where to install your catch can, how to do it, and most importantly, what it does and why you'd want one. So join us here for the ride. Pulling in and setting up all the cameras, for our first order of business, it was figuring out exactly where to mount the catch can and exactly what to connect it to.
So it would be coming out from the PCV into the catch can. The out goes back into the intake. That whole filter thing is what stops the oil from going into the intake regularly, right? This would just blast oil up there once you start having blow by, right? This port side, which goes from that PCV, it runs all the way back here, and then you run another one back up into this side here.
So if you didn't get all that, I'll try to explain it here. So you've got your engine. Among other things, attaching your crankcase to your intake is a PCV valve and some tubing. You'll notice how air is traveling from within the crankcase into the intake manifold. The PCV valve, or positive crankcase ventilation valve, is venting the built-up pressure within the crankcase into the intake manifold to be burnt up and sent into the exhaust system. At this point, you'll ask, if everything is acting as designed, why even add a catch can? Great question. When you're thrashing on a car, not only will you be venting more positive pressure, but the air will also pick up oil and other contaminants, sucking them into the intake and gunking up your valves over time. This is where a catch can comes into play. A catch can will go in place of that hose that connects the PCV valve to the intake manifold and act as a sort of fly trapper for the liquid contaminants suspended in the air. Over time, liquids will get caught or condense on the steel wool in the top portion of the catch can, dripping down into the basin. At that point, you can then empty the catch can and dispose of the gunk that would otherwise have been sucked into your intake manifold and burnt up in your engine.
Essentially, we need to take off this to get down here. I'll take that. To get down to that PCV valve there, which then we're going to tap into that, delete the hose that comes off from the valve cover, and run it to the catch can over there, which will essentially be there.
Right here.
And then it's going to take another hose from the output of the catch can and go into this intake port right here.
And after fighting with some of the fun, hard-to-reach clamps underneath the intake, we were finally able to remove the tubing that connects the PCV valve to the intake. Nice.
Yeah, twist.
So that's basically what we're deleting.
Yeah. Did you throw that over there? Deleted, bitch.
Then it was time to prep the catch can. So after removing the tubing from the PCV valve, we're going to mock up where the catch can is physically going to sit on this side. We added the Teflon tape to the fittings on the catch can. And we'll see how she sits. So why are we putting the catch can on this side?
Because there's no room anywhere else. Because you have a huge intake. If you didn't have an intake and had a cold air, you could probably fit it on its side.
Yeah.
So you don't have to run tubing back and forth.
So we're going to come off this bracket right here. Hopefully it'll sit somewhere in this area, but also we need space for actually removing the catch can so we can drain the oil. So my very expensive option of a catch can came with a very nice, well-manufactured bracket.
Which is basically a piece of aluminum bent on a 90.
Oh, 4 holes.
So yeah. So we have to do some drilling.
Remember kids, measure twice, cut once.
Problem is this hole has to be offset because you're still hitting the fucking AC line. If you see the camera shaking, it just add hit marker sound. Because this is gonna sit like this. I need to know the angle of it. Because if it's like this, I'm too close, right?
Yep.
If it's like this, I know I'm on the right pitch.
Cool.
And then I just gotta line up essentially like that. Wherever looks closest.
Okay.
And put a hole.
Will it catch threads?
Oh, it does.
Now that you've made it this far, it's a good time to talk about why you'd actually want a catch can in your Hyundai Genesis Coupe and what you'll need to install it. First off, why it's so important in our cars. There are two main types of modern fuel delivery methods in gas vehicles, multi-port injection and direct injection. Multi-port injection involves spraying fuel into the intake, allowing it to mix with the air, then during the intake stroke of the engine, having the entire mixture sucked into the open valves into the combustion chamber. Direct injection, on the other hand, works a little bit differently. Direct injection has the fuel injectors mounted in a similar way as the spark plugs, with the nozzle pointed directly into the combustion chamber. This means there is no fuel passing over the intake valve, and at first glance you may think, hey, that's probably a good thing. And it can be for other reasons, but for valve gunk, it is not. With the multi-port injected engine, the air-fuel mixture rushes over the back of the valves. Combining with the detergents added in the fuel, it actually cleans up your valves and frees up any of that blow-by we discussed earlier. However, when we compare it to their direct injected brothers, no fuel touches the back of the valves, allowing blow-by to gunk them up. All models of the Genesis Coupe from 2013 on, the BK2s, 2-liter turbo and the 3.8s both got converted to GDI as opposed to MPI. This is why you see large horsepower and torque gains compared to the previous BK1s. Okay, so now you know why our cars need a catch can. This is what you'll need to install one in yours. You're obviously going to need a catch can. I bought mine off of Amazon for just under 50 bucks Canadian. You'll need about 5 feet of both 1/2 inch and 3/8 inch fuel line or heater core tubing. If you can't already tell where those plug into on the catch can, I'll explain in a little bit. Hopefully your catch can comes with a few accessories. Mine came with hose clamps. Unfortunately, neither of them actually fit. The last thing you'll need is zip ties, because those are a godsend. And after manufacturing the bracket and mounting the catch can, we lubed up the tubing and the fittings to finally install the thing for real.
A bit of KY?
Yeah, so I can take it off easier. Yeah. That's how much.
That's how much extra?
Yeah.
That's fine.
We're gonna.
I was scared I bought too little, to be honest.
So yeah, so we're gonna cut like right here.
Okay.
This will look like shit, no?
Yeah, probably.
Actually, that's pretty good. It's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Razor could have done it better, but no, we can zip tie it up. So let's get zip tie.
So we've also gone ahead and used the same clamps that we've used off of the leaded rubber hose.
We found a couple hose clamps to put on the catch can side, and after we ran the second hose and zip tied it up, all that was left to do was put it all back together.
So after finalizing the placement for the catch can, we ran all the tubing behind and nicely secured it down. So off of the PCV valve runs the intake hose, and that's going to be a 3/8 hose, and that runs behind into the catch can. Then a 1/2 inch hose runs all the way back and into the intake manifold right here.
Last but not least was to start the engine to check for vacuum leaks.
After starting it up, you obviously want to check for vacuum leaks. Obviously right now you can't hear any because it was done correctly. If you pull the cap off while it's running, hear the idle, how it's bogging?
Sucks it right in, eh?
Yeah. That's how you know it's working.
What the f? Get out of here! Oh, right on my toe. Nice, yeah, nice steel toes, asshole. Both in pants. Oh! Right in the toe. God, these feet are getting a beating.